Ringba, they be the king high. Now, what y'all won't do? Wanna be ballers, big shot paper callers.
Welcome to the Paper Caller Show. My name is Adam Young with Ringba, and today we have the CEO and founder of AllFinanceLeads, Anthony, and his partner, Josh. These guys are a leader in the finance paper call space. Their business is rapidly growing. They're amazingly intelligent guys, and we're really grateful to have them on the show today. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
So what I need to know first exactly is, how did you guys meet?
Oh, that's a good story, actually. Yeah, we met back in college. We're two internet entrepreneurs, and just connected and vibed, and going back almost a decade ago, and just stayed close ever since, and partnered up along the way, and been having fun ever since.
Yeah, there's another layer to that story. So, there's a lot of people that talk a lot in our space, and I guess it's unlike any other space. But after a while, you recognize patterns of someone who is persistent and can implement, and just recognize that there were synergies there in operational capacity as well, then mindset, and then personality is important as well. So, we've known each other almost 8 years now. And so over time, you build a lot of that. You kind of know what someone else is thinking. And so it makes sense to partner with people like that. It's kind of jumping into a marriage. You want to kind of get to know the person beforehand, and or not. But, it usually tends to do well if you kind of let it marinate.
Fantastic. And I noticed the first thing Anthony said was you guys have a lot of fun. So I'm assuming in your line of work, if you're having a lot of fun, it's not really work. You're just building and exploring together.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think for us, it's it always starts kind of with the intrinsic side, which is helping people, and we get to do it on a massive national scale, even international scale, every day. And that's a lot of fun for us to knock down walls and figure stuff out along the way.
We also have a lot of fun outside of that. So I think it's very important to highlight the fun doesn't stop. We enjoy competing. We enjoy innovating. We enjoy leading our teams. But we also enjoy having a great time outside of work. So I think that's an interesting and rare dynamic, to be able to have fun both on screen and off screen. And that's something that I think we're very grateful for. We're very appreciative of. And communication, of course, is a big key of that. So aligning our vision. I think a lot of co-founders and partners kind of find a break when their vision changes, and they don't communicate that vision, or they don't adapt along the way. And then obviously we are fortunate to be in a space that is ever growing, and we're continuing to push the envelope of innovation and what we expect from our team. So all that together, it's fun.
That's amazing, guys. It's great that you're able to pull it together and create such a strong relationship. And I think for a lot of co-founders out there that rush to get into business because they're excited about an idea or starting a new venture, they don't take enough time to really understand who they're getting involved with. And that's really the biggest piece of the puzzle. If you have a great team, it doesn't matter whether you're in pay-per-call or you're selling used cars. It's completely irrelevant, right? You're going to get an amazing outcome when you have really good people.
I call it mental masturbation. And so, people get together and everything sounds good at the coffee shop and on whiteboard, and it's like really exciting, and it's like, we're going to take over this world, and if we just get 1% of the market, and it's just really exciting. Then when the grit has to come into play, and you have to persevere and compete, you realize that it's not all roses and butterflies. But if you're crazy enough, if you're entrepreneurial enough and insane enough, you kind of find happiness in that joy of achievement type of deal. And so the pursuit becomes really exciting. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because we catch ourselves sometimes, and I think I am known for really going into those deeper realms where I'm thinking 10 years out. So I have to. Anthony's really good at also keeping that balance with me, where we're like, okay, let's look 3, 5, 10 years out, and then what do we need to tell the team for next month, and like, what does that look like? It's very important to be able to zoom in and out.
So how do you guys resolve disputes and disagreements between yourselves when you're not seeing eye to eye on something?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'll grab that one. It's for us, I think we have a put our personal relationship first over business. And I think with that comes a deep level of care and understanding more than what's producing money, what is producing growth. It's what's producing personal growth and our personal relationship. So really, it's kind of a simple answer. It comes down to communication. I think we communicate on a very, very deep level, on a very whether it's on a very intellect level or very high emotional intelligence level, where the two of us are very good at putting biases to the side and great at kind of laying everything out on the table and saying, here's what we're working with, let's solve this together. So it's kind of like going into any dispute or any challenge and saying, we're going to figure this out, we're going to figure it out together. We might not agree, we might not leave with one more of my points getting hit than yours, but we're both going to win and we're going to win together. And I think it's going into it knowing that we're going to win at a solution or a disagreement together. That kind of allows that entire process to be a lot less turmoil, if you will. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Otherwise, we can't solve it that way, we fist fight. Generally, Anthony's a lot quicker than me, a lot more flexible, shorter, get low. So, it depends. We'll fist fight. I always like to say, a good business partner is a good friend with benefits, and, in our case, the benefit is being able to build a long-term business together, make money together. That's a great relationship to have. And then you look at business partnerships, nowadays, a lot of them outlive marriages. So you have to think about how are you going to get that communication to. I like to draw out the awkward. I'm known for calling elephants out of the room. I enjoy that. I get a thrill out of it. So I think opens the conversation, and Anthony is really good at not shying away from that. So once I bring the elephant up, we're like, okay, let's talk about it, and we'll talk about it. And it's very important. And I think as leaders, as you grow your team, it's important that the team knows, especially if you're attracting A players, they want to know that the coaches have experience, they can get their hands dirty, and that they're on the same level of communicating, versus having kind of like a mommy daddy type of role where one agrees, one disagrees, and they're always bickering. It creates an unstable environment. That's the last thing you want when you're recruiting top talent.
Yeah.
So let's rewind this conversation a little bit. Tell us about what happened in the discussion that made you say, let's get into pay-per-call.
Yeah, great question. I think it came from both of us on an agency background, agency side, seeing the challenge of companies to either A, have the mature sales process built out on the back end to actually monetize leads, and then B, on the form fill side, the challenge of contact rates and increasing number of, whether it's people's phone getting blown up or they get inundated with emails or ads or things like that. So for us, we kind of had the inside look to see what runs a business on the back end, and then focusing on our efforts on the front end, really with the back end in mind, if that makes sense. So it wasn't how cheap can we drive a lead, how many leads, how many phone calls can we drive. It was what's going to be the best for the people actually servicing leads, and then work backwards. And for us, it was ultimately a phone call, because they've got the body on the phone. They're able to have a better close rate, be able to monetize them a lot better, which theoretically adds on the front end to be able to get the highest value for those calls, things like that.
I think what I recognized over time is that, because I was in affiliate marketing, straight up affiliate marketing, even in high school, and I recognized that what businesses wanted were customers. And after a while, recognizing that the value, especially for service-based industries, forms are antiquated. I wish they would just go away. But changing consumer behavior, takes time. But if it almost ends up, you fill out a form and it ends up on a phone call regardless. And so after examining, and seeing that across all different industries, it's like, why can't you just cut out the middleman, which is the form, and get a hot body on the call? People at the end of the day want to deal with people. They don't want to deal with machines. They want to use machines to help them communicate with people. That's why I don't really believe in this whole AI taking over the world to the point where there's no human interaction. We're always seeking that human interaction. So why not close the gap? And so we figured we could do this, by going straight to the call. And even though it takes a lot more thinking around how you turn someone comfortable enough page website for them to pick up the phone and call, especially when you're going across different industries and then when you're going across different demographics, trying to get each one of those cohorts to feel comfortable enough to pick up the phone. But we know that at the end of the day, if we can drive hot callers, hot customers on the phone to our clients, they are going to succeed. And at the end of the day, it has to be a win-win all around. And the customer likes it too, because they're getting their answers right away in real time. And if it makes sense, they're able to sign up and do what they need to do. So I think it's a win-win all around.
Yeah.
And what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned when you started in the pay-per-call space? Maybe some of the most painful mistakes that happened right when you rolled out.
Yeah, I think some challenges revolve around what Josh just talked about, which is it's a completely different. You have to approach marketing a completely different way to get someone on the phone, and whether that's creating the urgency to do that or setting the expectations. I'd say some challenges would be someone getting on the phone and they didn't really know what the heck they were calling about or what they were talking about, or being fully educated on the service they're about to be pitched, which again comes back to that focus on the back end and them being able to monetize those calls in the best way. So I'd say that's one challenge. Another one is, and it's still an ongoing challenge, it's just the limitation of call centers, of the hours that call centers are on, and versus forums that can run 24/7. That's something we're always challenged with, and whether it's making media buys after hours or things like that. And we can talk through some of the solutions we found that are the benefits. And but I don't know if you have anything else.
I'll just add one that I think about a lot. It's how companies value a call. And how they handle the call. So that's literally a 50-hour discussion on its own. But every company's different. But how do they value a call, and how are they able to extract value out of that call? So we realized that we've had to train a lot of our our merchants and the companies we deal with on how to better handle a call, and bridging the gap between what the front advertisement is, what the landing page is, and then what the script is on the phone, the IVR in between. Making sure that there's congruency across that, and it's going to make everybody more money. And so we've really went in bed with a lot of the clients who had the scale that we looked for and understood the value in developing that type of relationship. And those have been the companies that we've made tens of millions of dollars for, because we've been able. They recognize the value, figuring it out. They know they don't have that totally figured out. Where in other spaces, it's like, okay, when a sale comes through on commerce, you can track that. But a call is a lot more subjective in how you handle it. So the more granular we go, that's why we've been taking a lot of stuff in-house on how we manage calls, a lot of our technology, bringing that in-house, and leveraging the best that we can, Ringba included in that, to figure out how we can build a tech stack that enables our clients to plug into that, also publishers to plug into that. I think the result is what's in between, which is yield optimization. So we're able to pull more revenue out of a call for publishers as well as for the advertisers without messing up that supply chain too much.
One of the things that I've noticed about the pay-per-call space is it's growing rapidly, and it's at the very beginnings, in my opinion, of where it's going to be. There are not tons of demographic targeting. People are not getting sophisticated in those tech stacks like you described yet. It's at a very early stage, and for an industry which is so large, it's a really exciting place to be. And so I'm very excited about our clients and the growth we're seeing and their companies that are growing. And I just think that there's a ton of room to go around in the pay-per-call space. And it's about to move international as well. So there's endless opportunities for people that are attempting to get into it. What interests me a lot, though, and what I would like to understand is why you guys chose to focus 100% on the finance vertical.
Nice. I'll let you jump in after this, because I think you have a little bit more industry background you can shed and growth. But for us, it was that long-term thinking. So moving from even back to what I just mentioned on how cheap can we drive a lead and things like that. That's in our opinion short-term thinking. We're focused on the full funnel. That's more long-term. Same thing with the industries we're in. So are these industries going to be around for the next 30, 40, 50 years? What's the value of the customers in this? Where are the trends headed? Which you can talk through a lot more on numbers, but that's what kind of solidified our feet in the finance vertical.
Yeah, I think it's something that the consumer behavior is since the 1920s when credit cards were introduced. Households have continued to utilize credit cards and different financial products, whether mortgages, reverse mortgages, refinancing, car insurance, and so that financial landscape covers a very, very, very large overall market. And the other thing is we see the behavior, particularly with anyone under 50, 55 years old, is that we pick up the phone and we call when we need something done. Generally, like I don't get calls anymore just saying like, hey, how's it going? Let's chat, for an hour or two, unless you're dating and you just like sit there and talk for 3 hours about nothing. Generally, you're picking up the phone to get something done. And so we recognize the value of the phone call. I think the value of a phone call has actually gone exponentially up because people are now using their phone for very high intent usage. And we recognize that if we can also, the financial space has kind of a reputation, at least in the affiliate world, of kind of being grimy, a lot of the bottom of the funnel sniping, where people are just bidding on keywords that don't really have high intent, they're not driving value. So we recognize we can either shy away from this large opportunity because there are a lot of established players and it kind of comes off as grimy or saturated, or we can do something about it. And because of technology and because of the way that people consume information now at their fingertips, we know that we can educate someone holistically. So it's like, for example, the other thing we thought about was, what is something that's recession-proof? And you look at Warren Buffett's holdings, and he's got Amex, he's got McDonald's. He knows that generally people like to eat bad. They like to eat food that tastes good. It's not very good for them. Amex, Wells Fargo, people like to take out mortgages. Owning a home is the American dream. That's like going anywhere, taking on credit card debt is very natural. It's only growing and growing. So there's 100 different service areas that we can focus on within the financial umbrella, but it tells a very similar story. How can we help Susie Q, either save money, ideally save money so she can utilize that money much more, and sometimes saving someone $50 to $100 by refinancing their mortgage or getting them a better rate on car insurance. That enables them to, instead of taking on a second job, they're able to spend more time with their kids. And we see those testimonials come in left and right. So we know we're making an impact there. And so I think it's very important for us to help educate the market as a whole, the consumers, and then give them products, financial products that make sense for their unique situation that's very customized. And then we make our money by connecting companies that match our rigorous rubric of becoming someone who does business with us, and then being able to feed that to the publishers and saying, look, if you're currently driving financial leads, whether it's credit cards, finance, refinancing, mortgages, anything, talk to us because we see the customer as a client, a whole picture, and we're going to yield more out of that client than anyone else will. Even the end company, right? If it's LendingTree, they've only got a few products that they're going to push down that person's throat. They can't look at them as a holistic because it doesn't benefit them. It does for us, it does for our publishers, and ultimately we're creating a better picture for our customer.
So tell me how you're leveraging business process and technology to accomplish some of these goals in a way that affiliates that are watching this could learn from and get new ideas from for growing their business.
Yeah, great question. I think one major way we're doing it is understanding that an individual that fits a specific demographic or they're in debt, what other complementary products are not only a good fit for them, but potentially the right fit for them. So just because you're getting in front of someone with an introductory on mortgage refi or something like that, that might not be the best product for them at this time. So I think it's matching people to the right products. And then also after that, so someone's in debt, they get help with their settlement. Well, now they need help with their credit score. And then after that, they may need, now they can qualify for refinancing, something along that where we're looking at the person's life journey and looking at them over the next 5 years. What are we going to do with them? Versus, like you mentioned, sniping someone at the bottom of the funnel where they search a competitor and we're running an ad that gets in front of them, they call us, and we kind of bait and switch them.
We use technology like Ringba, obviously, for call routing and all of that. We're using, we're using technology on the front end to understand, when they get into our email list and someone comes in and they're a single mom trying to save money on groceries, how do we zoom out and understand that customer or that client as a whole, that consumer, and saying what else do they consume? Do they owe money to the IRS? How can we help that, and how can we break the taboo? Another thing we're constantly looking at is messenger bots, live chats. How can we bridge the gap between a web visitor and a phone call, which then can become a customer of multiple service products? Live chat is kind of a soft way to warm them up for a call, so that they're afraid to hop on the call right now. They're at work, but I want a couple questions answered. Do you guys cover this? And it's like, yes, we do. We can help you with that. Would you like to schedule a call? Or like bridging the gap, I think is important. Messenger with Facebook, they came out with a free live chat using Messenger. There are a lot of free solutions. You don't have to spend any money. But I would challenge any affiliate to zoom out a little bit from your customer. If you have a very targeted blog and it's about the best credit cards for small business, zoom out a little bit. Why is someone looking for a credit card if they're a small business owner? They might be in debt. They might need a working capital loan. Whatever it is, they may have financed their house to pay for their business. How do you zoom out? They might be going through a divorce. There's so much going on there. If you just zoom out one level and add a section to your blog that talks about that level right before the funnel, or right before that area that you're focused on, and right after it, and talk to us, and we'll show you exactly how to monetize the back, the front, and the center. Because right now you're myopically looking at it and only waiting for people to get into this zone before they can call or before they can do something. Open up these sites. Try live chat. It's totally free. Man it yourself if you have to. Give them the phone number. You'll see that the rates of people picking up the phone and getting on a live phone call will skyrocket. And then challenge the idea that form fills are the only way that you can make money. There's way more potential getting someone on the phone than there is in getting a form filled in the middle of the night. People lose it. They don't get back to them. Another company does. I'd rather get that exclusive on the phone, because you can only be on the phone with one person at a time, and one company is who they're calling at a time. I'd rather go for that. The conversion rate is going to be a lot higher. So those are some tips I give to affiliates. Yeah.
I think that those live calls are amazing as opposed to leads too, because the intent is there, and you can't resell a live call 36 times to a bunch of other vendors. It's never going to get saturated. That call is worth so much more money. And I love what you said about the fact that people don't pick up the phone anymore to just randomly call. They do it with intent and purpose. And so intrinsically, the value of phone calls is going up, and going up substantially. And so that adds just another layer of excitement to the pay-per-call space. In tandem with that, what advice would you give to a brand new player that's looking to get into the pay-per-call space?
So I would say it's obviously a very competitive space, but and we do this now as a company. We seek out competition. We love competitive markets because it provides an opportunity. One, we get to piggyback off of the existing behavior of the market, and we get to make things better. And that's really entrepreneurship and innovation at its core, is making something better. And so first step would be, if you're not in the financial services space, think about how you can use the skills you built, whether they're media buying, SEO, AdWords, and how can you apply that to a market that is ever growing, like the financial services space, particularly a space that is going and seeing your money advisor, and sitting down in person, to signing up for a lending club account online and managing all your money online with one click. This market is, there's a book called Where Are the Customers' Yachts? And it talks about how Wall Street makes money off the backs of middle America, who have no idea where their money's going, what it's managed, because they're intimidated by learning about stocks. You're like, I want to learn about stocks. It's not learning about stocks. It's about learning, where's that customer at right now. So if you're in the biz ops space, or if you're in a similar space, this is a great opportunity for you to add that layer where it's like, hey, you're looking to get a house, but what about your credit score? Or, what about fixing your debt to income ratio? Let's look at that first so you can get a better house, selling them on that vision, the future. So it's very easy to add that to what you're doing right now. And then I would think about some of the financial products you use on a day-to-day basis and that you trust, and recognize that there's an opportunity to recommend that to your readers, to your visitors, to your email list. And then, of course, anything between that, we're more than happy. One of the things we do a lot, we're very selective with the publishers we work with. We are still kind of high volume. We generally work with those publishers just because of the stage we're at. But we also like to help. We had a publisher the other day who has a huge personal finance blog and was just running AdSense. And you got to recognize that if you're running AdSense, the only reason you're making money is because someone like us is buying ads on there and making a lot more on a call. So cutting out, it's kind of, you don't have to cut it all at once, but think about your monetization. How are you monetizing each click? And how can you inject a financial product in there that immediately allow you to outspend all the other affiliates? There's a lot around there. And I would say just don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated by the competitiveness of it. If you're in weight loss, if you're in biz op, if you're in any other space, this totally makes sense. Home services, right? If you're doing a lot of roofing, a lot of home service type of work, this is perfect. Even solar. People are in the mindset of investing in their home, and so they want to see that investment. So getting a reverse mortgage or getting any of our financial products to our system, we've got the direct line to be able to offer those services. So talk to us. Let's see how we can look at your click as a person, because there's a person on the other side of that computer, and that person has a story. And how can we look at that story, help them out, and make money in the process?
Tell me more about some of the specific skills that you guys have learned over the years through trial by fire that have helped you become successful in the pay-per-call space and just business in general.
I'll start with one, and then you jump in. I'll chew on that a little more. But I'd say personalization or segmentation, on to an obsessive extent. So we kind of become, I always joke, we become method actors when we're learning about, even if it's a segment within a segment. So it might be someone in debt, but it's someone who just got divorced, or it's someone who is going through, they're older, or whatever that is. How many times are they getting calls? What are they feeling like when they're getting calls? Or if they're married, are they telling their wife? Are they not telling their wife? So that, I think, bleeds through in our copy and our segmentation of some of the targeting you're allowed to do, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on the email journey we're taking people through. So I would say a big learning point for us in maturity has been understanding the different, we'll just call it sub-segments within what other people would group as one, and treating each individual as different as possible. Ideally, in a perfect world, the flow is completely unique from you to me, even though we might be the same age, we might have the same affinity, we might be doing, there's just one little thing different than us. I want to touch on that. I want to speak to that because it's going to convert me into something with the I'd say increasingly difficulty to generate leads, generate calls in today's world versus a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago.
So wait, before you answer, so are you actually role-playing this stuff out? Are you making a list of customer types and figuring out who they are as people, where they're at in life, how they're engaging? Give us some more detail on exactly what that process looks like, because it's very unique.
Great question. I've even gone as far as being late on medical bills on purpose to see what the process looks like. How hounded I get by debt collectors. Not joking. I'll have my friends call me 15 times throughout the day, say, I want you to call me 15 times every single day. And I want to feel what that feels like. Like, I want to feel the anxiety of my phone ringing. I don't even want to look at it got to the point where I didn't want to look at my phone anymore. I didn't want to check my mail, things like that, where now I could really understand where that customer is at. And then trying to go even deeper into that, right? It's saying, okay, yes, a divorced person, that's a segment within someone who's got debt. But what about a divorced person that's also gay? I'm just making something up. What is that person feeling differently than a straight person? That's and again, I'm just using silly examples here. Or has 3 kids versus 2 kids, all age difference. And how drilled down can we get to talk to this person so much differently than this person, even though at a surface level they're the same individual. But yeah, we do role play. We do get very deep into our segmentation.
And it's something that everyone can do, by the way. Like when I'm writing our copy or when I'm training our copy team, I always say, why is someone wanting to lose weight? Or why are they wanting to get the roof done? Or why are they wanting to get solar? Is it because the next door neighbor has it? Is it because they're environmentally conscious? Is it a hybrid of that? Trying to understand the psychographic of the people that are visiting your site. You can do this very easily. You can either listen to the calls. You can, if you got form fills, add another question in there. You can follow up with leads and ask them why they were doing it, just quality assurance.
Right.
And so that helps in producing copy and zooming out and saying, oh, this person, because they recently got out of a relationship and they want to build their self-confidence and they want to go after someone who is maybe better off for them. And so then all of a sudden you have a story there of this roofing is not just another roof. This is going to have all your neighbors envious of your new roof, and they're going to come asking you, even the one you don't like across the street is going to come and ask you, where'd you get your roof done? And they're going to want to do it like you, and they're going to pay more because our sale's ending today, but you'll be able to recommend them. We have a referral program for customers. So being able to tell that story and then getting them to act is really important, and something that we use across the board from training. We try to train, Anthony spends time with our call floors trying to get the people to understand how to speak to our customers, IVRs, landing pages. It goes all the way across, all the way, if we can get it, all the way to the guy who's actually installing the roof and who's there with the customer. The more data we can provide, the more custom tailored experience. And people are getting more and more expecting of that type of experience.
I want to highlight something that you mentioned there that's really important and really easy for a new affiliate to do to try and understand the pay-per-call space. And that's to actually invest the time into listening to call recordings. It's a very simple thing to do. Each call recording is very different. And after you listen to 10 or 15 of these things, you can actually understand, like you said, the psychological profile of the person that's actually interested and the intent behind it on the call. And a lot of the things you're discussing are very, very sophisticated. But for our listeners that are brand new to the space, step one on learning a vertical is listening to those calls and understanding what the users are really interested in. And I think it's amazing that you guys dig so deep into customer intent and where it's going so that you can build segments, which again ultimately leads to higher return on investment. And so that's an amazing way to drill in and maximize your yield. And so on the other side of this though, let's talk a little bit about traffic sources and traffic generation and how you guys generate your traffic and some things that affiliates should be aware of for pay-per-call specifically.
Yeah, I'll say, I guess, aware of on pay-per-call. I'll touch a little bit on Facebook because I think that's probably where a lot of affiliates are hanging out today. I'll say, I think it's almost a must to move. I'm talking to someone moving from form fills to phone calls, or talking to someone from moving to a hot topic versus a long-term play that's going to be around for years. I think it's a must, especially if you're on Facebook with the rising costs, to get involved either in a vertical that's going to be around forever that is a high ticket item, where you can your data can compound on itself, whether that's lookalike audiences, things like that, to drop your overall costs, or B, the value of the phone call being so much higher than an actual form. You have more of a ceiling to actually acquire a customer versus on forms where you're going to get priced out of the market very quickly, in my opinion, generating form fills. I don't know if you have anything else to add for.
Well, it came down to what I'm looking at holistically or macroeconomically inside of our business is what are we paying to generate a customer, and where are we generating those customers? So whether it's SEO is the holy grail. We spend a lot of time, effort, and focus in SEO because you've got high intent. You've got low long-term costs, high upfront investment, but low long-term costs, and then you're building an asset that's brandable, sellable, and then you can grow that. So we look at that, and we know that historically, same thing with Google, prices will continue to go up. Facebook will continue to get more expensive. What does that mean? Survival of the fittest. So I can either somehow mind control Mark Zuckerberg with voodoo or some witchcraft and have him drop our CPCs, which I haven't tried yet. Or I can, Anthony's tried it, clearly it's not working. Or we can raise the yield, the value of the caller. And the one thing I will mention about calls versus form fills versus really any other type of affiliate traffic or affiliate model is scrubbing. And if you're working with a network, that's why we're very selective with who we take on, because we're building buying power against the merchants and against the companies, saying you're not going to treat us like some grimy affiliate. We are the new age affiliates. We are people that build brandable assets, and it should be an honor for you to get our calls. And so we're flipping the script on the industry, because traditionally when new markets come out like pay-per-call, immediately it's all the lawyers, the most home security, the most expensive niches coming in to take advantage of a new way to acquire customers. Good for them, but not necessarily good for us long term. So they get greedy, and so what we're doing is we're flipping the script. Well, I'm really excited for papercallers.com to be able to communicate with the community, build that leverage as a community to be able to do that. But I would say figuring out how can you make more money by providing more value to the caller, to the client, as opposed to solely trying to get the cost per click down. You can only get so much here. You can almost get infinitely here. So nobody focuses there, especially in this space. And that's why we said, you know what, we're going to focus here. Scrubbing doesn't happen on calls. It's almost impossible because you see everything. It's real time. You can listen to the phone call where you send a bunch of forms and if you're not following up with that, someone could just be like, yeah, well, only 20% came through, or only 30% were valid, or oh no, that didn't work, or the pixel didn't work. It's like, no, this is a real live phone call. So you'll realize as an affiliate that you're going to get treated a lot more fairly by driving calls. It's a little bit of legwork to figure out how to get someone to bridge the gap from a visit to a call, skipping that form fill, but the value is there because long term, that's what's driving the value. So we figured out, we've mastered, or in the process of mastering, we mastered some segments of it, of yield optimization for our publishers. So affiliates come in, they say, I've got a big finance blog, I want to make more money from it, screw AdSense. We help them get off of AdSense and start to really build a business they can sell for millions of dollars, as opposed to just building an income that's going to come and go. We help them do that, and we plug them into our system so that they don't have to worry about dealing with buyers, doing anything like that. Our system will optimize, and with Ringba's help, we'll be able to understand that culture and monetize better than anyone else. And that's why we're focused in one vertical. It's a massive one, but we want to understand the financial service journey, the buyer journey there, as opposed to someone who's wanting to lose weight or wanting to get a roof. It's just a slightly different, but we're trying to understand that story and how we can yield more money out of each caller by driving more value. You can only trick and scam for so long. You actually have to drive value to build a brand. And we're realizing our affiliates are coming to us and saying, Josh, I've made millions of dollars. I'm a super affiliate, or I'm kind of new to this. I finally hit a campaign that works, but I'm afraid that I can't leave my job because I don't know how stable this is. Or, what's going to happen 2 years from now when Facebook doesn't allow affiliate links anymore. We teach them how to build a business. Like we've had to go through that evolution where we can sell our SEO sites for $1 million a pop and still have a business because it's a brandable site. So that's a long way of saying, don't try to fight the CPC, try to fight the yield and the people you're working with, and that's going to pay off way more.
Yeah, what you're talking about here is building a real business, something of enterprise value, something with long-term value, not spinning plates like a lot of affiliates are. And I hope those that are listening that are currently hustling campaigns that last 30 days and 60 days will take a moment and think about their own future and how what they learned cutting their teeth in the hustle can be applied to major multi-billion-dollar businesses, because some of the people in the affiliate space are the smartest and most creative I've ever met. And what we learned there allow us to take things that people aren't even aware of and turn them into very large businesses. So this is some amazing insight and advice, guys. I'd like to ask you what you think the biggest opportunity in pay-per-call for the second half of 2018 is.
Well, first I'll touch on, and I just lost my train of thought from what you just said at the very end there.
So I think getting more granular with the data that is available to to affiliates, to platforms, to the end merchant and companies using them, solidifying that transfer of information and data and making it useful, I think is important. I think we're still 5 years behind where we should be. It's almost comical that, I've been doing this for 10 years. We've been in the pay-per-call space for, more than half of that, and still not much has changed, overall. And the other thing is, what I'm excited for is for industries to understand that this is not your traditional affiliate product. This is not something where you're scared of people using fake credit cards to sign up for a Acai Berry trial or rebuild. These are real hot people on the phone that want your services, and we're pushing really, really hard as advocates of the pay-per-call industry, but also for publishers, because we do a lot of work and we rarely get any credit for it. And we get scrubbed and we get beat around, and it's like, oh, we're driving the customer to your door. And so I hope that people get industry as a whole becomes more cognizant of the value of the call, and how to handle the call better, and then how to pair data that's available online. We've got all this stuff for e-commerce. Why can't we have that data for the caller as well? And I think that's going to give us a lot more respect in the industry too. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's just the education on the servicing end, on the back end, and we invest almost more efforts on that education of the people actually handling our leads to understand the value of what we're driving, and I'm excited similarly to see the maturity in the space for people to understand how much more valuable a call is than a form. And like you mentioned, Adam, at the beginning, that's only increasing in understanding and in value. What I was going to mention is what we talk about all the time is for those affiliates just spinning their plates, it's actually, in my opinion, less effort to be building a real sellable asset than it is to be spinning your plates every single 30 days, like you said. It's just the direction. So a lot of it is that mind shift that we talk about all the time, where it is actually easier to build a sellable asset, a long-term asset, than it is every 30 days hitting the reset button, and it becomes a lot more addicting in a lot of ways, in my opinion.
But it's scary. It's scary. I just want to say this because someone listening is going to be like, I want to do that. I want to have a brand, and it's true. And I just think that it's scary to invest money into SEO or to these black boxes. Where you're like, I'm not sure. I'd rather go for using Dr. Oz on my ad because it's going to get me cash right now, and that's what I need right now. What happens though is that's a dopamine fix. It's highly addictive, and you start chasing the income, and you have to recognize at some point, and I wish I would have recognized it even earlier, is instead of chasing, I want to be rich, I want to be wealthy. I want to build assets. I want to, and focusing on something, for a long period of time is where mastery comes from. And all of a sudden you recognize you're more passionate. You're waking up again with that passion in the morning. Just like when you get a winning campaign and you're stat checking all day and refreshing, you get that same euphoric feeling and that dopamine release, except it's long lasting. And now for us, it's like, how can we push the envelope further? I'm no longer stat checking. I'm more in terms of, at this level now, I'm looking at our team, and I'm team checking, I'm people checking. I'm still looking at overall stats week by week, but I know our assets not going anywhere. I know the industry's not going anywhere. And I can tell you'll make 100 times more money by building something of worth. And your family will thank you for it. Your wife will thank you for it. Yourself, you'll feel a lot more healthy, as opposed to, oh no, I just got banned again. Oh no, I got to set this back up. Oh no, they banned me on the affiliate network. Oh, they pulled the offer because it was really, a scam, and they were just rebilling people, and now I'm not going to get paid. Just that constant struggle. We pay, our top affiliates are paid weekly, on the hour. They don't have to worry because they're along us with the journey, different sides, different areas of the path, but they're on that journey of building wealth. And it's a multi-trillion-dollar market, but it's a trillion-plus market for us. So people ask, why are you helping us? I get that question a lot. Like, why are you sharing this? Like, why would you be telling me your secret if you could just go and do it, right? We don't have info products. We don't have courses. We don't sell information. We run real businesses. But part of our business is helping our affiliates, our publisher partners, understand how to build a long-term asset. It benefits us because it's going through our system. We make our small little percentage off of the calls that go through our system. And then on the other side, we have companies that say, why are you spending so much time with our call center? Or why are you doing this? We say, because if we help you train and understand, we remove the excuse of saying, we don't have time for that. We don't have the personnel for that. We'll come and do it. And we know that the yield is going to be a lot higher for us and our publishers. And we see the long-term value in that, and you're not going to leave us. So it's that type of relationship. And even what we're doing here in the conversation we had with you, Adam, about Ringba is, Ringba's been a breath of fresh air for us, being veterans in the space. And we're so excited by what you guys are doing. We want to know what's next so that, one, it kind of pushes us to keep pushing the envelope, but it also gives us new ideas and capability to say, oh, we could do this now, or like, let's gear up for this. It gets us excited. I think that's been missing in this industry.
Well, we believe really strongly in connecting the community and driving innovation. Helping other people is how you learn and create amazing relationships. And I really appreciate that you guys subscribe to that philosophy, and I know a lot of our other clients do. It's helped us grow a lot, but also their businesses have grown exponentially, and that's amazing. That's the most fulfilling thing that I can ever see, is when a client's business grows, and that's part of the fulfillment you just talked about. And I think a parallel is that if you're delivering quality to a client, you get sustainability. If you're smashing and grabbing, it's gone in a week. And so that's really the transition that we want to see affiliates make. And the pay-per-call space is an amazing space to do it in. It's an amazing tool to leverage that in. And like you said, there's no scrubbing. It's all transparent. There's recordings of every single call. And so you know you're getting paid for what you're delivering. And you can focus on being creative and generating long-term value. So I think this is amazing advice. And that brings me to my last question. What does the future hold for AllFinanceLeads?
I would say we're really, just like Ringba has been a breath of fresh air, we try to be that continuing breath of fresh air for our publishers, but also for the companies we work with. We've been in-housing a lot of inconsistencies that we recognize and aren't going to be fixed overnight. And if we find that even if it costs $1 million, but we can build that and that's going to drive value to the ecosystem, we're willing to take that bet, because we know that it takes big companies several years to understand the value of change, and sometimes detoxing the executive board in order to get there. So we're taking the bigger bets on our own, understanding that this market isn't going anywhere, and if we build that infrastructure, that'll have value down the road. So we're excited about continually adding more financial products to our portfolio, so that adding bigger and bigger companies. We work with some of the biggest already on a CEO to CEO basis. We're texting them. That's exciting. Being able to be right next to them as they're building their companies. Then getting more market share in the sense of getting affiliates to understand that they can send us their leads, and building that brand equity over time, so that a reputation is really, really hard to build, easy to break. So for us, we can not just make you more money, but we can help you in a lot of areas of your business on the longevity side, and we can help add incremental revenue to things that you're probably throwing away right now. And so if we can continue, similar to, I would assume Ringba, if we can continue for our clients, which we're two-sided as well. We've got our end companies, and a lot of those we're in-housing. We've got our own call centers that we run, that we're warming up, and we're starting to scale that to add more value to the ecosystem. And then on the affiliate side, helping our affiliates make more money from their traffic, helping them diversify their traffic sources, helping them build real brands and assets they can sell, down the line, continue to generate revenue with. That's also sustainability for us, because if someone goes out and buys money.com and they're one of our publishing partners, we're going to help them monetize all that traffic, but we know that money.com is not going to go anywhere. And so we're building sustainability on this side as well as on this side, and trying to balance that has been fun.
Yeah, and I think it takes a dedicated effort in one sector to be able to accomplish that. It's you only have so many hours in the day, and I think we're excited to sink our teeth even further into the space and, on both sides, like you mentioned.
If our listeners want to work with you, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can go to our website, allfinanceleads.com. Anthony at allfinanceleads.com. Josh.
Yep, Josh at allfinanceleads.com. We're just we're redesigning it again, continually adding new products and services, and just reach out to us. Fill out the contact form. You can find us anywhere online as well. I have actually, we both have pretty unique last names. You search our names, you'll find us. Other interviews, things like that. Just feel free to reach out. And even if it doesn't make sense, if you're not in the financial space, or you just want to chat about anything we talked about, or have questions on Ringba or anything else that we use, we're really open books. I think that's the last thing I'll leave, is that I stopped going to a lot of the affiliate summits and affiliate events because there was a sense of scarcity and nobody wanted to share any information. Where are you getting your traffic from? Oh, I can't tell you, or I can't do this. Why? Because we're constantly churning and burning. And people are so scared that if they let out one thing, that it could ruin their income and they're going to have to go back to their day job. And it's like, I get that. But if we can as a whole industry start to understand that we can build real businesses around driving customers to end companies, and we do that continually, that's not going anywhere. And the market is so big, just financial market on its own is $1 trillion market, that I could give you everything we do, and there'll still be more than enough food for everybody to eat the next day.
Well, thank you guys so much for speaking with us today. We appreciate all your insights. Guys, we're going to put their contact information below the video. Please reach out to them. They're amazing, and they'll help your business grow.
Thanks for watching The Paper Collar Show. Let us know what you think by joining the conversation and commenting below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. And if you're on mobile, tap the bell. Whether you're new to Paper Call or an industry veteran, we invite you to join the free community at papercallers.com. This episode of Paper Callers is brought to you by Ringba Call Tracking and Analytics. See how Ringba is inventing the future of calls at ringba.com. See you next week.